Everybody, my name's Andrew. I am one of the nutritional therapists here at Wildview Retreat alongside Irene and Magalie. All three of us are qualified nutritional therapists either from the College of Naturopathic Medicine or the Institute of Optimum Nutrition in London, and we've all been through 3 years of hardcore training and now on a mission to educate and inspire others to improve their lives for optimum well-being. And I'm absolutely delighted that the two of them have joined us this year for our second year at Wildview Retreat. We've been busy preparing a new set of wellness and nutrition talks for 2020 for the new set of retreats starting in a couple of weeks' time. And I just wanted to very quickly, over the next couple of minutes, run through the topics that we're going to be covering on retreat each day and a little bit about them. So the first talk that we're going to be doing is basically nutrition, a foundation in nutrition, basically, the founding principles and the key reasons why we need good quality nutrition. So it's the sort of stuff that everybody should have been taught at school, and it's, quite frankly, an absolute disgrace that it's not taught in school, because nutrients are essential for life and growth, and we get all our nutrients from our food. So we go through all our lives just thinking that food is something that we have because it's tasty and enjoyable to eat and we need it for energy, but we don't realise that actually all those nutrients in it are cofactors for pretty much every process in the body, and without them, that's why we feel initially a bit bleh, and then eventually we get a little acute illness, a sickness, and then it turns into chronic disease. So nutrition is absolutely critical, and we cover the macronutrients, their functions, and where we can get them from in our food, and also the micronutrients as well. Really, really important, and we do it in about an hour. A very simple overview, so that you go home with a knowledge of what things you should be looking on for your plate. Without getting too serious about it, of course, food needs to be fun and enjoyable and tasty, but it's about remembering that it's actually your fuel, which is going to make you either feel good or feel rubbish. So we all want to feel good, right? So that's the first one. It's kind of like an introduction to nutrition. The second talk, I should say on that people who came last year, they got that talk as well, but we felt that this year we should repeat it because it's always good to have a bit of a refresher. But also it's so important, everything that we do, that everyone needs to know it. So we'll probably keep banging those points forever, so everyone understands macro and micronutrients. The second one that we're doing is about detoxification. Super important. Everyone thinks that we're just detoxifying after we've had a skinful the night before, and that's the only time when we're detoxing. But actually, we're just detoxing every millisecond of the day, whilst we're sleeping, whilst we're living, and it's really important because some people detoxify better than others, depending on their genetics and also depending on what they expose themselves to, whether it be the toxins or the environment that we live in. And your body's ability to detoxify will set a precedent for your susceptibility to chronic disease. If you are detoxifying well, it means all those toxins that are going to kill off your cells and your systems will be eliminated faster, and so increase your optimum wellness essentially. So we all want to be detoxifying really well, and some people just aren't doing it particularly well. And there's a whole host of things we can do from a nutrition and lifestyle point of view to make our bodies detoxify better. So we go through all of that, and it's really cool. Phase 1 and Phase 2 detoxification. The third talk that we're doing this year is about our hormones. Now, everyone, I'm not sure if you know, but we have the endocrine system, which basically are the glands that secrete our hormones in our body, which basically send chemical messages around our body in order for us to function, behave, and do certain things. So simple ones are example, when we're about to get run over by a bus, we secrete cortisol from our adrenal glands, and that tells us to get out of the way. We also have our reproductive hormones as well, which allow us to reproduce. All kinds of different hormones happening at different times. But if we are not living an optimum lifestyle and having an optimum diet, then those hormones can go out of balance and go out of whack. So it's really, really important that we live well and eat well in order to make sure that we don't expose ourselves to an imbalance in hormone levels. So we have one talk which is all about that, and all about, well, in particular, thyroid and the adrenals, the cortisol, and sexual hormones as well. So that's another one that we do. And again, all the different nutrition points that we can do to balance our hormones naturally. The next talk that we're doing is about, I believe, the number one risk factor relating to chronic disease these days, which is a silent killer. Everyone knows about smoking, everyone knows about poor diet, everyone knows about lack of exercise. Stress. Stress is a silent killer because it's not something that's easily quantifiable. Everyone knows you can quantify how many cigarettes you smoke a day or how much alcohol you smoke a day. But how do you quantify stress? And stress is absolutely fundamental, and your levels of it in predicting your mortality, basically. Because essentially, when you're stressed, your parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. Your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and your parasympathetic nervous system slows down. And what that is, very simply, is you go into fight or flight when you're stressed. And essentially, all of the non-essential systems in the body that don't need to fight that particular scenario or deal with responding to whatever it is, all of them shut down to allow for you to respond to this stressful event. Now, unfortunately, what's happening is that stressful event in modern day life is happening over and over and again, 24 hours a day, essentially. So all of those important bodily systems that need to be functioning most of the time are being shut down. Digestive system, reproductive system, immune system, all those things that get shut down in order for you to fight the tiger or have an argument with your wife or whatever it may be. So stress is a massive, massive killer these days, and it's really, really important that we understand ways to alleviate stress from a lifestyle point of view, a nutrition point of view. There's lots of things that we can do, so we go through that as well. And then the fourth one is about sleep. Sleep is so critical, and a lot of people don't realise. It's essentially when we are healing and recovering and our bodies are rejuvenating. And it's been scientifically proven that if you don't get enough sleep, you have a dramatically increased risk of a cardiovascular incident and an increased risk of chronic disease. It's basically because you're not allowing your body to recover and repair and maintain itself, and so you're basically it's dying off sooner, essentially, as simple as that. But it's also interesting that if you have too much sleep, you also risk illness as well. So it's about getting the optimum level and also learning about what strategies you can put in place to improve your sleep from a lifestyle and nutrition point of view. So we go through a whole load of those things as well. And then the final thing we do, if we have time at the end, is just some tips for optimal living, putting it all together so that everybody goes home kind of armed with this like sort of mini toolkit of what they can do when they get home, inspired, rejuvenated to implement a couple of new techniques into the daily routine. And our advice is not to try and do it all because it can be a bit overwhelming. For example, when I first started going on retreats about 5 or 6 years ago, I tried to do loads of changes and it kind of just fell flat on my face. And I since learned that you just take 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 key things from the week and implement those at a time. And then maybe 3 or 4 months later, another couple of things. And then, a year later, another couple of things. And before you know it, it becomes your lifestyle and your routine. So that's just a little overview of what Irene, myself and Magalie are going to be providing this year. We look forward to seeing you. March is pretty much sold out, and the rest of the retreats are also looking pretty positive. So we're excited to see a lot of returning guests, but also meet a lot of new faces as well. If you have any questions about any of the talks we're going to do, please drop me a note. I'm happy to field any questions. And look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great 2020, guys.